show you a little bit of my journey, make this a little birthday special kind of, so you know where I came from to where I am today, and there's a lot of wind going on. Hey everyone, and welcome to a new video. This is a special one because this is my birthday video. Yeah, and you came again. That was not planned. I didn't train him to. He just likes me. I like him too. Anyway, I wanted to make this video today, not just to celebrate my birthday and I threw myself in this birthday outfit, but also show you a little bit of my journey, make this a little birthday special kind of. Grab yourself your favorite beverage and then let's dive right in. So, to start off, I was born in 1996. That means I just turned 26 years old, and that's... wow. I always thought I'm gonna stay 19 forever, but that didn't happen. Until I... okay. Dogs are fighting in the back. So, if there is a noise in the background, those are just the dogs. Just ignore. But yeah, so I was born in the southwest of Germany, in a little village. Everything was fine until I turned around like 5 years old, because that was when my parents separated. As probably many of kids that their parents got divorced, I always kind of tried to fix it, and I kind of blamed myself as well. Then I got into school after a year. I really liked school, to be honest. I like to learn, I like to learn new skills. And I was really good in math back then. You want to be part of the video? You want to be part of the video, I see. You as well. Everybody wants to be part of the video. Yeah. Everybody wants to be part of the video. So back then I was still really dreamy. I loved to read, like literally waking up at the weekend at like 6 a.m. starting to read for hours until my mom woke up. I love to create stuff. I love drawing. For some time I was even drawing my dreams or like fantasies I had. Later on I also like to play in fantasies world, like I pretended to be Kim Possible or something, or like a version of Kim Possible or something like that. So I was always like kind of fantasy gazing and like getting into different worlds in a way. And also back then I was super shy. I remember one time my mom was at our neighbor's place and I came back from I don't know where, and I was too afraid to ring the bell, even though I knew the neighbors. So I was waiting in front of their door until my mom came out. So just to give you a perspective how shy I was. And yeah, so that started a little bit once I got into like the bigger school, the gymnasium, or let's say like until I got into like 7th grade, because that's when I started to become really cool. And also I tried to be liked, I tried to get along with everybody, I think what a lot of teenage girls do. So I was kind of good with the like cool kids of school, but I also always kind of got along with the nerds. So I was always a bit in between, but I was never really part of one kind of group. Also back then I got really social, so I planned meetings like sometimes to the hour every day, on the weekdays, on the weekend. I went to those wine festivals we had, so I really loved to engage with people, be part of groups. The more the merrier, kind of. I didn't just want to be liked by my friends, but also kind of by my parents. So I was never that girl that, I don't know, got so many tattoos, dyed her hair in a crazy color, wore tons of makeup, wore like really weird clothes, had an emo face or whatever. I was never part of that. I was always the good girl. From the age I was growing up, I was always the girl you could take everywhere with you because I never said a word. As I said, really shy and so on. And I was also really social in terms of I loved engaging and like making things better. So I was part of like the, I don't know how you call it, the students board. So we organized events in the school. We even organized like a concert. I was also part of this student sport for the city as well. So I was really like part of a lot of things. Later on, I was part of the team that organized like the whole prom for graduation, and like the books we made, like the graduation books and all that. Like I was part of all that because I just loved it a lot. Yeah, also during that time I discovered my love for baking, or it wasn't really baking, it was more those like theme topic cakes. So again, like this more creative kind of baking, if you know what I mean. And also I got like from dancing ballroom dances, I got into dancing hip-hop. We even went to championships, and I loved it because it felt like I found this little family, and because we saw each other 2 times a week, we trained together, we had this goal together, we even won the championship. So that was like insane. We won while I had hurt hand, like it was covered completely in bandage kind of. And I also started to go to clubs and dancing there, and I loved it so much. Like I can't even put into word how much I love to dance to like hip-hop music and all that stuff, or just like crazy dancing. I just love going out to dance. I don't even need to drink anything. I just really love to dance. And then also concerts and festivals entered my life, and I think that is, besides traveling, really my biggest passion. I always said going to a festival is kind of having vacation for your brain. It's definitely not vacation for your body, because usually you don't sleep much. But just like being in this crowd of people, the energy that is there, and you like all sing together to your favorite music, you discover new artists. And if you've never been to a concert or a festival, you should, really should go, because it's like, for me, one of the best things you can do. That was like slowly getting into, oh, what do I actually really like? And so because I had so many different things going on, I loved creating, I loved all kinds of music, I loved this and this and this, like all kind of different things. I also didn't have like this one friend that like got along with all of that, so I had like different friends for different interests, kind of one for dancing, one for going out with like other friends, one who shared this kind of music taste, and so on. And then I started saving for what back then was my biggest dream, and that was to go on an Interrail trip. So driving with a train through Europe for roughly 5 weeks, and I wanted to do that back then with my best friend. Sadly, he cancelled 2 weeks before we wanted to go. And that brought me in my probably first, what you could call, depression. I literally broke down into tears, and I didn't know what to do. Like, instead of doing it by myself, I didn't have the courage back then. So I just spent all the money for food, for clothes, for partying, and within one summer all the money was gone for really nothing meaningful, or nothing that had any meaning to me, at least. It was fun, but I said the Interrail thing would have been nicer. But then a new chapter of my life began, and I studied in the city of Stuttgart, which is like also in the south of Germany, but more in the center, kind of south. And I chose this destination, so I'm gonna be far away from home, kind of. So I could still go back home without a big struggle, but it was like a 3 hours train ride, so I couldn't come home every weekend. I didn't want to, and it was kind of my way to make sure that nobody's gonna question this decision. And I went to Stuttgart, and I was alone there. I had my class, which consisted of like, I think 22 people. Most of them but basically lived around the big city. So every day they went back home in their parents' house mostly. They had their friends back home. So I was living in the city center, but kind of by myself. So that's when I had to like get out of my way. I had to go to places by myself. And back then that was the most fearful thing I could imagine. But I forced myself to do it anyway, because I knew that's the only way to meet new people. And it was. I went to amazing activities. I got to know other students. Then I was taking part in a buddy program, which is basically so you're a buddy for an exchange student from somewhere abroad. And that was when everything changed, because that kind of became my new family in this city, because all of them are living in dormitories in the city center. So we went out a lot of times, and especially like on weekdays when my friends from my own class were getting home. So that was also the first time I really felt free to be more who I was. Like I didn't have the feeling I need to behave in a certain way because I have to see those people for the next 3 years. And you know what I mean? So I was kind of really free, and everybody was really open-minded, and it was this whole international circle, which back then I didn't really know because I was always in my hometown. I went to a talk by Nick Martin which fully inspired me and showed me that traveling the world is actually a thing that's possible, because back then there was like a far, far away dream which I never thought would be at any chance something. So my next trip was actually with a friend of mine to Cuba, which was the first big trip abroad, and I loved it. Cuba is an amazing country with beautiful people, but you really have to like get under the surface of being a tourist. But there also I realized that if I travel with somebody else, I need to make compromises. And sometimes that was okay, but sometimes I would have preferred doing different things in a way. Which was fine for the trip being, but that kind of was a point where I decided that next time I'm gonna do something by myself. And that next time came towards the end of my studies, when I was in the middle of my final exams, and I was really, I was exhausted, I was annoyed, because also before I had my thesis, which really, it was so hard for me that I really struggled with everything. It was time to break out. Within a few hours, I just booked my long-lasting Interrail trip, which I haven't done until then. Welcome to a really busy moment of my life. Today is the first day of my Interrail trip through Europe, or say my Interrail / road trip through Europe. 4 weeks Interrail and 4 weeks Thailand. I just needed to get out of there. And it did scare me, but that's what I did. Like during my studies, I did my first solo weekend where I just booked an Airbnb room at Lake Constance. And not gonna lie, it was terrifying for me to be alone. I never spent so much time just by myself. I was constantly surrounded by people. But I like embraced it. I was journaling a lot, and it was still hard. But there was like the first step was like, okay, I didn't die, so maybe I can do it another time. So then I thought I'm gonna do this Interrail trip, starting the first week with 2 of my friends in Prague, and then I'm gonna be by myself. And that will be the practice for my Thailand adventure, because before I'm in Europe, so if anything goes wrong, I can always go back. But I knew I had to get out. It was like, it wasn't even a wish, it was something like from deeper within. And also with Thailand, I never planned to go to Asia, and then all of a sudden I had this calling of going to Thailand. And that's what I did. And what can I say? Thailand probably changed my life. It was a big turning point for me, because yeah, the first time I forgot what day it was, and as I said before, I was so structured. I planned everything. I knew everything that was going on in the next 6 weeks, months, whatever. And I never felt closer to the version of myself I felt like is my true version, if that makes sense. And I realized that this is what I want to continue doing. I don't want to go back and just do that for like 2 weeks a year or something. I want to do that long term. And that being said, I started my new job, which was a big comfort zone stretch for me, because I had 2 offers, one of them being assistant of the management and working in sales. 2 things I had no clue about. It felt like, oh my God, how can they even think about me? How is this possible? But then I remembered something I always tell people, and it's like, your life begins outside of your comfort zone, and if something is fascinating you, exciting you, and creates a kind of fear in you, that is exactly what you should do. So I thought maybe I should live by my own advice, and I had 1 weekend to think about it, and I made the decision. So I was in this job. It was really nice in the beginning. I learned so much. I had amazing colleagues around me. Everything was great, but then like slowly my motivation flew away. Also because I already knew I'm gonna leave after 2 years. And then the pandemic happened, and well, I want to go away, but now it's not possible. What am I gonna do? And I couldn't motivate myself for work anymore. So even though my boss offered me to extend my contract longer, after like 6 months, I said I have to go. I cannot do this anymore. And I did. Good thing about the pandemic though, I bought a camera, I bought the LCA course, and that kind of blew everything up and changed everything again, because I had this business now, and all of a sudden I had this self-esteem, like maybe I can do that actually. That was great. And then I'm not gonna lie, I was struggling a lot with like moving out, decluttering my stuff and getting ready, and I was kind of numb in between, because I think I was still afraid to do this step because I didn't have a specific date when to leave. And at some point, because I had to like talk to the like unemployment office and all that, they asked me when I'm gonna leave, and I said I don't know, and they're like, you have to tell us a date. And that kind of clicked, and was like, yeah, I can decide when I want to go. This is my decision now. I don't have to wait for anyone anymore. I chose the date 13th of June, which is actually 1 year ago. It's so crazy, isn't it? That's what I did. I packed my bags. I left for Italy, my heart country. I gotta hurry, the sun is going down. Yeah. So I made a decision to start my trip, and to be honest, I think the hardest people to tell were my parents, especially my dad, because I know that he is really against this whole thing. My mom was actually really supportive, or is still really supportive. My dad is still asking every phone call when I'm coming back home, even though I knew they were kind of not super for it, because of course they were worried about me. I knew that this is exactly what I need to do, because all my life I spent kind of to live for other people, live towards the expectations I thought other people have in me. So I was always behaving, always trying to do the right thing. And now it was time for me to do something just for myself. I will talk about like my whole learnings from this trip in the next videos, because you can imagine in a year you can learn so much, you have no idea. But fast forward to now, I mean, I quit my job in the pandemic to travel the world, which back then I thought was the craziest thing. And I thought people would say the same, but once I started communicating what I planned to do, everybody was all on fire and is like cheering me up and telling me how courageous that is and how brave and how they wish they could do the same. And I didn't expect that at all. I thought there would be so many people telling me what a bad idea it was, how terrible it was, but everybody was just supportive. That was so great. And it's so weird when you focus so much on the negative things people could say about it, and that's holding you back of telling. And then you realize when you actually speak what you truly want, people are supportive in the end. And even if not, you know what you truly want, you know? Hey, I'm Marina, and I quit my job in the middle of the pandemic to travel the world, starting in Italy. And today we are gonna explore the city of Bari in Puglia. So I started this trip. I threw away all the beautiful plans I had of volunteering, staying in a place for longer, and like engaging with the culture and all that. No, I went to do the opposite. I traveled super fast, like talking 2 cities a day I started with. And went on this creator trip, which was like constant content creation, like non-stop from the morning to the evening for almost 2 weeks. bringing out a YouTube video every week, and that was just way too much. I came to this personal realization when I was in Spain, because my phone was broken, I was broke, and I had no money left, and I was kind of lost in everything. And my time in Granada truly helped me to get my feeling of myself back, of what I really want. And in general, there were so many situations that could have discouraged me, but seeing it backwards, they actually always made me stronger. And that's also when I realized it's not about getting away anymore. No, it's really about not getting back to the old life I had before, because no way I'm gonna go back to that. Even I sat back, and even if I have to clean toilets, and I did, I'm gonna prefer that over the life I had before, because just this feeling of everything I'm doing is my own decision. Everywhere I am, everything I do every day, I decide. Whatever job I have, whatever people I'm around with, I'm deciding that. And this feeling is priceless. And of course it's a lot easier if you can always blame everybody around you, the circumstances, the government, the weather, whatever. But if you truly take responsibility for your own life and you are the one deciding, means of course you are responsible for everything you're doing. And I am. For every bad decision I made, for everything I fucked up, and I did, still do, not everything right. But on the other hand, I'm also the one that is responsible for the success I have, for the growth I have, for this life I'm having right now. And I'm so much more connected to myself because I took the time to be with myself, spend time with myself, getting to know myself, even the parts that I thought are not really lovable, that nobody really wants to see them. But I'm like slowly uncovered myself through this whole journey. And I still cannot even put into words how grateful I am for my time in Egypt, because that was kind of the turning point of where I started to get into this slow journey with myself, getting to know myself. And it's just I think that's also the reason why I got so many tattoos, because I needed to like collect these lessons I learned, because they're so valuable to me and I can never forget. And even if I do, I have those reminders on my body to remind me of that. And now I accept myself. I forgave myself for a lot of things, even though I still have struggles, like, not gonna lie. I learned to accept myself. I learned to forgive myself for things I did wrong. And just in general, I went from this shy little girl that just always wants to be liked by people, always want to do it right for people, that completely suppressed her feelings in order to like not be too loud or too emotional or too sensible or whatever it is. I turned into what I am today. I'm like feeling my emotions. I feel the good days, I feel the bad days, like highest highs and lowest lows. Like, even though I have still really bad days where I'm really crying a lot, because sometimes shit just happens. But then I also know that the highs are gonna be so high and I'm gonna be so happy again, and like crying tears of joy, like feeling like tingling all over my body because I'm just so happy. So this is something I've never felt all my life, because I was always not just suppressing like the bad feelings of being angry or sad, but also all the happy feelings. You cannot just choose what you're gonna like get somewhere else, you know? And I just learned to like love myself. I only need my own approval. I don't need other people's approval anymore. Of course it's always nice to get it, but I don't need it anymore. I have a lot of peace and I learned to enjoy life without pressure. And so what am I today? I'm still lost in life. I still struggle. I still don't really know what I'm gonna do. I still haven't fought all my demons. I'm still not fully healed, but I started my journey to go there. And I just love the fact that I started this journey and that I created this journey. I'm still creating it every single day. And I just can say finally that I'm proud of myself. And I was never able to do that. I'm proud of myself for making this happen. Also, of course, I'm super grateful for every beautiful soul I met on this journey. Because without them it would have been something completely different, of course. But I'm finally able to say that I'm proud of myself too. And I'm grateful for myself and the decisions I made. Even though not all of them were great, but it brought me to where I am today. I made my learnings out of them and I'm starting to change towards the version of myself I'm striving to be. And even though I'm still striving, I also found peace with myself. And I think that is like the greatest gift you could ever get. And the greatest gift I could wish for my birthday as well. So being at peace with myself and striving for bigger things. And I can really only encourage you to go for what you believe in. Go for your dreams. Go for that little voice inside yourself that tells you this is the thing I really want. Of course, not everybody will agree with you, but that could also be because they would need to change as well, because you are in the same position, you know. But I think there's nothing more freeing than take responsibility for your life, responsibility for your choices, for your dreams, for everything you do, and just like becoming the person who you truly are. And if you already are, that's amazing, really. But I really want to encourage you to like take that first step. And it doesn't have to be a trip around the world. It can be whatever gets you a little bit out of your comfort zone, a little bit closer to the thing you really want to achieve. And that is enough. So thanks so much for listening to my journey. I really hope I could encourage you with that, maybe even inspire, or if not, just entertain. But for me it's really important to be like as authentic as possible and to like encourage you to do the same. So thanks a lot for listening. Thank you for being here. And yeah, I really hope I see you in my next video. Bye.